Ever think a single moment could shake an empire to its core? In the opulent glow of the Sapphire Room, Chicago's priciest restaurant, every eye suddenly locked onto a quiet corner. The air went still, as if time itself froze. The clink of silverware stopped, conversations died, and dozens of stares fixed on a scene no one saw coming. Lily Carter, a 12-year-old with autism, her hands trembling, started singing to the soft piano melody. Her voice, clear and quivering, carried a piercing power, like a ray of light tearing through darkness. Beside her stood Elena Morales, the restaurant's only Latina server, who knelt down, flashed a warm smile, and said softly, "Keep going, sweetie. Your voice is beautiful." But that magical moment was quickly shattered. "Sir, please control your daughter." Manager Gerald Watson's voice sliced through like a cold blade. "This isn't a karaoke bar, and our staff isn't here to babysit." James Carter, the millionaire CEO of Carter Enterprises, felt his face flush. This was his first time taking Lily out to dinner since his wife's death, and now he just wanted to escape the prying eyes of Chicago's elite. "Lily, sit down," he ordered, his voice low but firm. But Elena didn't back down. She looked straight at James, her eyes fearless. "I was just complimenting her singing, sir," she said, her tone calm but defiant. Then, to the shock of the entire restaurant, she sang with Lily, their voices blending into a melody that tugged at everyone's heartstrings. James Carter, a man used to controlling everything, suddenly found himself powerless before his daughter's radiant smile. A smile he hadn't seen since she retreated in her own world. But he didn't know this moment would tear down walls of prejudice, change Elena's fate, and spark a quiet revolution. Stick with us, because this story will keep you glued to the screen. Hit that like button, subscribe now, and find out what happens when a server dares to defy the world for a little girl. You won't want to miss a second. The moment Lily Carter's voice rang out in the Sapphire Room wasn't just a song. It was a declaration, a spark piercing through walls of prejudice and power. But the real story kicks off right after, as every eye in Chicago's swankiest restaurant stayed glued to the 12-year-old with autism and the Latina server who dared break every rule to encourage her. Elena Morales, with her warm smile and gentle voice, opened a door no one, not even James Carter, the millionaire CEO and Lily's dad, saw coming. But to understand why this moment changed everything, we need to dive deeper into the people and the place that shaped this inspiring story. The Sapphire Room isn't just a restaurant. It's a symbol of power and privilege in Chicago. A space where the rich and influential gather, where every gesture, every word is carefully measured. The vibe here carries a subtle tension, like one wrong move could wreck a reputation. Unspoken rules reign. Servers are invisible, guests are flawless, and any deviation is squashed fast. Into this world stepped Lily Carter, a girl with big eyes and a sensitive heart, alongside her father, James. This was James's first time bringing Lily to a public place since his wife, Anna, died 3 years ago, leaving him with an autistic daughter he loves but struggles to connect with. Lily is a special kid, but the world often misses that. At 12, she's quiet, often lost in her own world, where music is the only language she fully speaks. Her voice, pure and clear, is how she talks to the world, a way James, despite his efforts, hasn't reached. Lily lives under her dad's protection, but that protection sometimes feels like a cage, keeping her from chances to shine. When she suddenly sang along to the piano in the restaurant, it wasn't just a whim. It was a desperate wish to be heard, to be seen as a whole person, not just a different girl. But in a place like the Sapphire Room, that wish was a disruption, a crack in the elite's perfect picture. Elena Morales, the restaurant's only Latina server, saw the light in Lily. At 28, Elena's more than a server. She's an educator, an innovator, a quiet fighter. With a bachelor's in special education from the University of Illinois and a music program called Harmony Voices for autistic kids she co-founded, Elena carries a mission, helping kids like Lily find their voice. But in the Sapphire Room, she's invisible, just a server expected to bow to powerful patrons. Working in a place thick with prejudice, where sneers and sharp words are routine, Elena learned to stay silent. But when she heard Lily sing, when she saw the trembling but hopeful look in the girl's eyes, something in Elena stirred. She couldn't turn away. She knelt, praised Lily's voice, and sang with her, defying every rule, risking her job. James Carter, the man behind Carter Enterprises, is a study in contrasts. A millionaire who controls everything, from multi-million-dollar deals to his public image. James is helpless with Lily. Since Anna's death, he's struggled as a dad, trying to shield Lily from the world but unintentionally building walls around her. He loves his daughter, but that love is clouded by societal bias and the pressure to keep up a perfect facade. When Lily sang in a restaurant, James felt both shame and fear. Shame at the guests' judging stares, fear because he didn't know how to help his daughter. Manager Gerald Watson's outburst was like a knife, making him want to pull Lily out of the spotlight. But when Elena stepped in, when she sang with Lily and brought out that rare, precious smile, James felt a surge of emotions. He remembered Anna, who always said, "Lily doesn't need us to fix her. She needs us to listen." Lily's smile, so rare and valuable, woke something in James he'd buried long ago. The connection between these characters drives the story's pull. Lily, with her voice like a whisper from the heart, stands for those the world overlooks. Elena, with her compassion and grit, is a beacon in the gloom of bias. James, torn inside, reflects a powerful but lonely man yearning for meaning. The Sapphire Room, with its rigid rules and stifling vibe, is the perfect backdrop to highlight the clash between kindness and society's coldness. Elena's singing with Lily wasn't just a small act. It was a challenge, a statement that everyone, no matter their background, deserves to be heard. But the story doesn't end there. As Elena left the restaurant, leaving James with a swirl of emotions, she carried a quiet resolve. She knew her actions might cost her job, but she also knew they'd touched Lily's heart, and maybe James's too. James, sitting in silence after Lily stopped singing, felt a sharp ache. He realized he didn't truly know his daughter, hadn't given her a chance to be herself. He pulled out a business card, his voice hoarse as he said to Elena, "My office, 9 a.m. tomorrow." It wasn't just an invitation. It was the start of a quiet revolution, where a Latina server, an autistic girl, and a powerful millionaire would rewrite what strength and compassion mean. Stay with us, because this story will tug at your heart and restore your faith in miracles. The moment Lily Carter's voice blended with Elena Morales's in the Sapphire Room wasn't just a song. It was a silent declaration of war against prejudice and the elite's coldness. In Chicago's ritziest restaurant, where every glance is sharp and every rule unbreakable, Elena's act shook the room. She didn't just encourage an autistic girl to keep singing. She challenged the power of men like James Carter and the weight of a discriminatory society. But from here, the conflict exploded, pushing the story to an emotional peak where kindness clashed with bias, and an unexpected decision opened a new chapter for everyone. Things started heating up the second Elena knelt, her eyes full of encouragement as she looked at Lily. "Keep singing, sweetie," she said, her voice gentle but firm. Lily, hands trembling and eyes hesitant, sang again. Her clear melody, though shaky, rose once more, like a whisper from her heart, cutting through the restaurant's wall of silence. But the moment was quickly broken. "What are you doing?" Manager Gerald Watson roared, his voice sharp as a blade. "This girl's disturbing the guests. And you, Morales, aren't paid to turn this place into a stage." He stormed forward, eyes blazing, clearly intent on shutting it down. Guests around them began murmuring, some shaking their heads, others smirking with disdain. An older man, obviously someone important, stood, his voice icy. "I'll be calling the owner. This behavior is unacceptable." James Carter sat rigid at the table, feeling the blood rush to his face. He'd hoped for a quiet evening, a chance to take Lily out without drawing attention. But now, the entire restaurant was staring, waiting for him to act like the commanding father the CEO who controls everything. "Lily, stop it now," he said, his voice low but sharp, laced with anger and embarrassment. He looked at Elena, his eyes almost asking, "Who do you think you are to do this?" But Elena didn't back down. She stood tall, her gaze fearless, and instead of staying silent, she did something no one expected. She started singing with Lily, her voice blending with the girls, creating a gentle but powerful melody, like a challenge to the whole restaurant. "Let her sing," Elena said, her voice cutting through the silence. Because this voice deserves to be heard. The restaurant seemed to freeze. Lily's singing, now more confident, echoed, touching every heart. A few guests, initially annoyed, began to listen, their eyes softening. An older woman quickly wiped away a tear. But Manager Watson wasn't swayed. "Morales, you're fired," he barked, storming toward her as if to pull her away from Lily. James shot to his feet, his voice trembling with conflict. "What do you think you're doing?" he asked Elena, but his eyes held more than anger. There was confusion, as if he were facing something bigger than his authority. Elena met his gaze, her voice calm but brimming with strength. "I'm giving your daughter a chance to shine, sir. Maybe you should try that too." Elena's words hit like a punch, stopping James cold. He looked at Lily, and for the first time in years, he saw a radiant smile on her face. The smile his wife, Anna, once called the light of the world. Memories of Anna flooded back, her voice echoing in his mind. "Lily doesn't need us to fix her, James. She needs us to listen. Connect, don't perfect." Lily's singing, harmonizing with Elena's, was a reminder he'd missed that for too long. A wave of emotions surged, shame for letting prejudice guide him, pain for not understanding his daughter, and a flicker of hope that maybe there was still time to make it right. But societal pressure didn't relent. The powerful man from before had pulled out his phone, his voice icy. "I'll make sure she never works in Chicago again." A few guests nodded in agreement, their stares like weights trying to crush Elena. Watson moved forward, ready to drag her away, but Lily, with a courage no one expected, clung to her hand. "Don't go," she whispered, her voice small but resolute. That moment silenced the restaurant. James felt his heart crack open. He realized that if he let Elena be pulled away, he'd lose not just a chance to understand Lily. He'd lose a part of himself, the part Anna had believed in. James raised a hand, signaling Watson to stop. "Enough," he said, his voice hoarse but carrying a new kind of authority. Not that of a CEO, but of a father. He looked at Elena, his eyes no longer angry, but curious and respectful. "Who are you?" he asked, his voice low but weighty. Elena gave a faint smile, no trace of arrogance. "I'm Elena Morales," she replied. James nodded slowly, as if committing her name to memory. He pulled a business card from his pocket and handed it to her. "My office, 9 a.m. tomorrow," he said, his voice now tinged with a sincerity that surprised even him. Elena took the card, her hand trembling slightly, but her gaze steady. "Thank you, sir," she said, then turned to Lily, smiling. "Thank you for singing, Lily. You were amazing." As Elena walked away, the restaurant remained hushed, but it wasn't the silence of judgment anymore. It was the silence of change. James sat down, looking at Lily, and for the first time, he didn't see her as a problem to solve. He saw a girl with dreams, with a voice, and with a heart that needed to be heard. But he didn't know that meeting Elena would do more than change him. It would shake his entire world and spark a journey where compassion triumphs over prejudice. Stay with us, because this story will touch your heart and remind you that sometimes a small voice can work wonders. The moment Lily Carter's voice intertwined with Elena Morales's in the Sapphire Room wasn't just a song. It was a flame igniting change, lighting up an entire community. But the story truly exploded afterward, as Elena, with courage and resolve, faced James Carter, not only challenging his biases, but opening a new path for hundreds of kids like Lily. This journey isn't just about a girl finding her voice. It's about a father learning to listen, a server becoming an innovator, and a community healed through the power of kindness. The next morning, Elena Morales stood in the gleaming lobby of Carter Tower, her heart pounding but her eyes steady. She knew this meeting could change everything or end her chances in Chicago. James Carter, the millionaire CEO of Carter Enterprises, had summoned her after the unexpected moment at the restaurant. But Elena wasn't naive. She knew men like James often used power to control, and she was ready to defend her dignity. As she was led into James's sprawling office, she felt the chill of the space, like it was designed to make others feel small. James stood there, exuding authority, but his eyes betrayed a hint of unease, as if he were still trying to make sense of last night. "Good morning, Ms. Morales," James said, his voice even, gesturing to a chair. "Thank you for coming." Silence hung in the air, a tactic Elena recognized. A silence meant to unnerve, to make others talk too much, putting themselves at a disadvantage. But she didn't take the bait. She sat straight, her eyes never leaving James. "What's your background?" he asked, a trace of skepticism in his tone. "What do you mean?" Elena replied, her voice calm. "Education, experience." Elena gave a faint smile, no hint of arrogance. "Bachelor's in special education from the University of Illinois. I started a master's in child psychology, but had to stop to care for family. Right now, I work 3 jobs: server, teaching assistant, and running Harmony Voices, a music program for autistic kids." James paused, his eyes flickering with surprise. He'd looked into Elena, but hadn't expected such a solid academic background. He opened a file, flipping to a photo of a small community center. "Harmony Voices," he said, his voice low. "You co-founded it 4 years ago, but it's on the verge of closing due to lack of funding." Elena nodded, unsurprised. A man like James could dig up anything in hours. "I'm not here to ask for money, sir," she said, her voice firm. James raised an eyebrow. "Then why are you here?" "Because you asked me to come," Elena replied, her tone carrying a hint of defiance. James let out a laugh, but it wasn't a happy one. "Fair enough," he said, standing and pacing. "I want you to work for me. Be Lily's aide, help her like you did last night." Elena shook her head, standing up. "No," she said, her voice firm. James froze, as if the word no was something he'd never heard before. "I don't work for people who only see my background or status before my abilities," Elena said, her gaze unwavering. "And I definitely don't work for those who think money can buy a fix for emotional issues. Lily doesn't need another hired caretaker. She needs to be heard, to be given a chance to be herself." She pulled a business card from her pocket, placing it on the desk. "Harmony Voices, Tuesdays and Thursdays, for PM. If you want to bring Lily, the first session's free." Elena's words hit like a blow, making James see his own biases. He'd viewed her as just a server, nothing more, but now he saw a woman with a profound mission. As Elena left, James held the card, his eyes pensive. He thought of Lily, her rare smile, and Anna, his wife, who taught him that love is about listening, not controlling. He knew he had to act, not out of power, but for his daughter. The following Wednesday, Elena was at the Harmony Voices Community Center when her sister, Sophia, rushed in, voice brimming with excitement. "There's a Rolls-Royce out there," Sophia whispered, "and you won't believe who's inside." Elena looked out, seeing Lily in the back seat, eyes eager. James, in casual but still wealthy-looking clothes, stepped out, clearly uneasy in this community setting. But he was there, and that was the first sign of change. Elena smiled, welcoming them. "Welcome to Harmony Voices," she said, leading Lily into a room full of kids, where music was the shared language. Lily, usually quiet and withdrawn, suddenly started singing when she heard a familiar tune. Elena didn't lead. She let Lily be free, encouraging her with nods and smiles. For the first time, Lily interacted naturally, even holding another girl's hand, singing together. James watched, his heart breaking open. He saw his daughter, not as a problem to fix, but as a girl with her own light. But then Elena dropped a bombshell. She'd known who he was for years, having sent funding proposals to Harmony Voices that were rejected 3 times. When Lily sang last night, Elena said, "I saw a chance to show you. not tell you. James felt manipulated, but looking at Lily, he couldn't deny the miracle unfolding. He decided to fund Harmony Voices, building a new center to help hundreds of autistic kids find their voice through music. But the challenges didn't end. A group of parents sued Harmony Voices, claiming the program encouraged abnormal behavior. The trial drew media attention, putting Elena in the crosshairs. But she didn't flinch. A video of Lily singing, along with student testimonies, proved the program's value. The jury took just 20 minutes to declare Elena not guilty. That victory didn't just save Harmony Voices. It turned the program into a beacon of hope spreading across Chicago. James, now a father who listens, learned to follow Lily instead of controlling her. Elena, with her steadfast courage, became an education innovator, earning a national award. Their story is proof that kindness can break any barrier, and a small voice can change the world. Stay with us, because this journey will touch your heart. The journey of Lily Carter, Elena Morales, and James Carter didn't stop with the notes that rang out in the Sapphire Room or the courtroom victory. It opened a new chapter where a young autistic girl's voice became a flame, igniting an entire community. From an unexpected moment in Chicago's ritziest restaurant, their story spread, tearing down walls of prejudice and inspiring thousands to find strength in courage and empathy. This isn't just about a girl finding her voice. It's about a father learning to listen, a server becoming an innovator, and a powerful message that anyone can change the world, no matter who they are. As Lily's final year of middle school began, she was no longer the shy girl lost in her own world. Her voice, once a whisper in the Sapphire Room, became a symbol of hope. Lily joined Harmony Voices with blazing passion, not just singing, but helping classmates find their own voices. She became a vital part of the program, often standing beside Elena, singing original songs, each note a declaration that she didn't need to be normal to shine. Lily's confidence inspired dozens of other autistic kids, helping them step out of their shells and connect with the world. But her impact didn't stay in the small community center. It spread, touching the hearts of people who'd never met her. Elena Morales, once just a server facing prejudice, was now a nationally recognized education innovator. Harmony Voices, backed by James Carter's funding, grew from a small community program into a nationwide network, supporting hundreds of autistic kids to find their voice through music. Elena wasn't just the founder. She was the program's soul, speaking on major stages from education conferences to TED Talks, sharing how one small moment changed everything. "Real strength isn't control," she said in a speech, her voice steady but warm. "It's listening to those society ignores, daring to follow when they show the way." Her words resonated, bringing audiences to their feet, many wiping tears. Elena won the National Education Innovation Award, but for her, the greatest reward was letters from students like one from a 10-year-old girl. "Thank you, Ms. Elena, for helping me sing. I'm not afraid to talk anymore." James Carter, once a CEO focused on control, learned to follow his daughter and Elena. He was no longer the distant father trying to fix Lily. Instead, he became a listener, attending Harmony Voices sessions, learning to see the world through his daughter's eyes. He restructured Carter Enterprises' charity arm, prioritizing programs for special needs kids. But his journey wasn't always smooth. A major challenge came when a new donor, Victor Langston, tried to control Harmony Voices, demanding changes to make it more marketable for investors. "We need to commercialize it," Langston said, voice brimming with confidence. "Music's nice, but it needs flash, profit." Elena, with the resolve that carried her through prejudice, stood her ground. "Harmony Voices isn't about ticket sales," she said, her eyes sharp. "It's about giving kids like Lily a voice. If you want to invest, respect our mission." The meeting was tense, with other board members urging Elena to compromise. But she didn't budge. She played a video, Lily standing among peers, singing an original song about finding herself. The girl's voice, clear and strong, silenced the room. Langston, initially rigid, softened. "I was wrong," he admitted, his voice hoarse. "Do it your way." From adversary, he became an ally, pledging funding without strings, helping Harmony Voices expand to 3 more states. Lily's middle school graduation arrived, and she stood on the stage, not to sing, but to speak. "I used to think I didn't belong anywhere," she said, her voice shaky but determined. "But then I found my voice, thanks to Ms. Elena, my dad, and everyone who listened to me. I learned you don't have to be like everyone else to make a difference. You just have to be you." The crowd gave a standing ovation, cheers echoing. James, in the audience, wiped away tears. He was no longer the controlling father. He was proud of the daughter who taught him how to love. The Harmony Voices Center, with a wall engraved with Lily Carter, the voice that sparked hope, became a symbol of change. The program expanded to 10 cities, helping thousands of autistic kids find their light. Elena, now a global speaker, kept spreading the message that true strength lies in empathy. James, now an advocate for special education, learned to live for values beyond money. But their story isn't just about success. It's about the lesson that anyone can change if they dare to listen. Here's the lesson for all of us. You don't need wealth to make a difference. Listen to those society overlooks. Stand up against prejudice. Be a voice for someone who feels invisible. Real strength isn't leading. It's daring to follow when someone shows you the right path. Have you ever stood up for someone or helped them find their voice? Share your story in the comments. If this story touched your heart, hit that subscribe button and share this video to spread hope. This is Pride Chronicles, where no voice goes unheard. Let's keep lighting the world with courage and empathy together.